morning students of class 12 science. For all you have gone through the new reduced syllabus of biology. Over here, listen very carefully that most of the topics has been removed from your syllabus. Yeah, though the units are there, the chapters are there, but in between those chapters, most of the topics have been removed. So carefully go through the syllabus, and we have to go through only those topics which are there in the syllabus. So the chapters or the topics have been reduced. So kindly go through the new reduced syllabus. So now we will continue with our chapter Human Health and Disease. So before here, carefully, we have learned about the bacterial disease. In bacterial disease, we have learned about typhoid, we have learned about pneumonia. Now this particular topic is not there in the syllabus now. So under bacterial disease, we have to mainly learn about diphtheria and plague. Clear? And that particular topics, though they are there in your syllabus, but within the textbook, there is no such in details. So we will go through it afterwards. Clear? But right now we will talk about the Protozoan disease or diseases which are caused by Protozoa. So in the last class we have talked about the amoebiasis, or we can say amoebic dysentery caused by Entamoeba histolytica. Clearly, we have learned that thing in our last class. We have learned about amoebiasis. But today we learn about the second disease which is caused by a protozoa, or we can say protozoan disease, that is malaria. So before proceeding into the topic malaria, few things you have to remember over here is that malaria is simply caused by protozoa. We used to say that malaria is caused by a mosquito. Yeah. But malaria is simply caused by protozoan parasites, we can say. And the name of the protozoa is Plasmodium. Yeah, and there are different species of Plasmodium which we will talk afterwards. That cause different types of diseases, different types of malaria. So this particular protozoan, Plasmodium, requires two hosts. Interpreted host is the human being, and definitive host is the mosquito. That we discussed when we talked about the life cycle of Plasmodium. Now over here, the female Anopheles mosquito is the vector that carries the Plasmodium. Now what do you mean by vector and what do you mean by carrier? These two terms, vector and carriers, are different. Clear? Carrier will simply use to carry the germs from one place to another place, like housefly. It will simply help in the transfer of germs or the pathogens from one place to another place. And the parasites or the pathogens are not dependent completely on the carrier to complete its life cycle. But mosquitoes, which are the vectors, right? In case of vectors, the pathogens or the parasites are dependent to complete half of its life cycle. So within the body of the vector, the parasites or the Plasmodium, we can say, so if you are talking about malaria, so within the body of the female Anopheles mosquito, the Plasmodium will complete half of its life cycle. Clear? There are two phases of life cycle in the Plasmodium, the sexual phase and the asexual phase. So we will talk afterwards in which particular host the sexual phase and the asexual phase will be completed. Clear? So can you remember that mosquito is a vector and will simply help in carrying or causing the disease malaria. And malaria is a protozoan disease caused by Plasmodium. So we have got different species of Plasmodium. We have got Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium ovale, and Plasmodium falciparum. So we have got 4 species of Plasmodium. So kindly to remember. Clear? So Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium ovale, and Plasmodium falciparum. So the types of malaria which is caused by Plasmodium vivax is benign or tertian malaria. Recurrence after every 48 hours, every second day, not fatal. Distributions, most common type of malaria, tropical and temperate regions. So we will find in those areas where the Plasmodium virus, which causes benign tertiary malaria. Then Plasmodium malaria, which causes quartan malaria. Recurrence after every 72 hours or every third day. Occurrence distributions, tropical and temperate regions. Plasmodium ovale is type of malaria, mild tertiary malaria, reoccurrence after every 48 hours, distributions West Africa and South America. Plasmodium falciparum, types of malaria, because it is malignant tertiary, is most serious and the most fatal one, which can lead to the death of an individual. Recurrence, sources affect daily, what recurs every third day. Distributions, tropical. So August 29 is celebrated as the Mosquito Day because Sir Ronald Ross established the mosquito malaria relationship on August 29, 1897. Yes, so over here, what remember is that a normal Plasmodium, like a Protozoan Plasmodium, can survive normally in a normal RBC, or we can say hemoglobin, that's called biochemical say RBC. Clear? But have you heard about a sickle cell anemia? Will simply RBC become sickle cell? In case of those individuals who are suffering from sickle cell anemia, they have one advantage over malaria. Clear? Those who are suffering from sickle cell anemia, in those individuals, the shape of the RBC is to be sickle cell. So, in that particular RBC, the normal conditions for the survival of the Plasmodium is not possible. That means Plasmodium cannot survive in sickle cell RBC. So, it is one of the advantage for the people with sickle cell RBC because they will not suffer from malaria. Clear? So, when it is the African country, most of the people they should have sickle cell RBC so that they are not prone to disease. Malaria. So, here kindly remember the 4 species of Plasmodium and the type of disease or the type of malaria which are caused by each and every species. So, Plasmodium. Now, next one. Transmission of malaria. Now, how are malaria transmitted? So, over here, you have to remember the most important terms. Clear? Zygote. Very carefully. Zygote. Keep in your mind this particular term. Zygote, gamogony, and sporogony. Now, what do you mean by zygote, gamogony, sporogony? First, we'll discuss the terms. Then we'll come into the topic transmission and life cycle. So before going into life cycle transmission, we have to remember the important terms: zygote, gamogony, sporogony. Clear? So zygote means the phases of asexual multiplication of parasites inside the RBC of men. Remember, my dear, that this Plasmodium, once they enter our body by the bite of a mosquito, it will first enter into the liver, then it will affect the RBC, where they will multiply. We're talking details when we learn about the life cycle. So when this particular pathogens or the parasites will undergo asexual multiplication, where they will rapidly multiply inside the RBC of human being, that is called zygote. What do you mean by gamogony? Where there will be formation of the gametes, the male gamete and the female gamete of Plasmodium. So when there will be formation of the gamete, the male gamete and the female gamete inside the body of the human being, that is called gamogony. But the fusion of gametes occur within the body of mosquito. Clear? When sporogony is also an asexual multiplication phase in mosquito. So sporogony is also the process of asexual reproduction in case of mosquito. So kindly remember the 3 important terms: zygote, gamogony, and sporogony. So transmission sporozoites, the most infective stage in malaria. Okay. Sporozoites form this infective stage in human beings. These are introduced into the male's blood by the female Anopheles mosquito while sucking the blood. Very easy. Suppose a mosquito comes and bites an individual who is not infected by Plasmodium. But if that mosquito is infected by the Plasmodium, if that mosquito carries the pathogen, carries the Plasmodium, and if it goes and bites the individual, then when it will suck the blood from an individual, at the same time it will release the Plasmodium into the body of that individual. Now that individual will suffer from or will become infected from Plasmodium and will suffer from malaria. So whenever the mosquito is sucking the blood, at the same time it is introducing the pathogen, that is Plasmodium, most infective stage, that is sporozoites, into the body of a human being. So by this way, by the bite of a female Anopheles mosquito, the malaria is transmitted from one individual to another individuals. And the most infective stage, sporozoid, is mainly introduced into the body of a human being, by the bite of the female Anopheles mosquito. Clear? Now let's talk about the life cycle of Plasmodium. Now the life cycle of Plasmodium is completed by the help of two hosts, HOSTs host. The two hosts are human being and the mosquito. That's why it's also called digenetic. Because di means two. So each of us two hosts to complete its life cycle. Now what are those two hosts? The first one is the human being, which is also called the secondary host. Then the next one is the female Anopheles mosquito. So human being and the mosquito are the two hosts of Plasmodium. That's why the life cycle of Plasmodium is also known as digenetic. Clear this one? So first of all, listen. The life cycles of Plasmodium involves asexual phase and sexual phase. Asexual phase of Plasmodium is completed in human being, whereas the sexual phase of Plasmodium is completed within the body of mosquito. Clear? So remember carefully that asexual phase is completed within the body of human being, where they rapidly multiply through asexual reproduction, and the sexual phase, where there will be fusion of gametes leading to the formation of sporozoites, occurs within the body of mosquito. So the asexual part of the life cycle is completed in man. Hence, human being is also regarded as the secondary host. Clear? Earlier, human beings used to be known as primary host. Why it was regarded as the primary host earlier? Because the gametocytes or the gamete formation used to occur within the body of human being. Since the gamete formation used to occur within the body of human being, earlier it was known as primary host. Clear? But though there is formation of gametes, but the fusion of gametes occur only within the body of mosquito. So that's why nowadays human beings are regarded as the secondary host. And in this particular phase, in case of human being, the Plasmodiums rapidly multiply by the help of asexual reproduction. Remember, once the sporozoites are introduced into the body of a human being by the bite of a female Anopheles mosquito, it will go and infect the liver, where it will multiply by means of asexual reproduction. And after that, it will go and infect the red blood cells, where again they will multiply. And this particular process is called zygogony. and completed liver cells initially, then in the red blood cells. So that means this asexual reproductive process, the division or the rapid multiplication of Plasmodium occurs first in the liver cells, then in the red blood cells, and this particular process is known as zygogony. Clear? After that, the second host is called the female Anopheles mosquito, where the sexual phase or the sexual cycle of Plasmodium will be completed. Now, mosquitoes consider the primary host, although it acts as a vector instead of the disease. So, this phase of life cycle is called sporogony. So, sexual phase is completed within the body of mosquito. Clear? And the primary host, and the particular phase that is completed in the body of the Plasmodium is called the sporogony. So life cycle is considered triphasic. There are three phases: zygogony, asexual phase occurs in human being; gamogony, where there is formation of gametes in the body of the human being. What is completed in the body of mosquito, that means the fusion of gametes occurs in mosquito, and in the mosquito the asexual phase will be there, which is also called sporogony. Now these things we will learn in details by the help of the diagram. So listen very carefully. Alright, we will go through it one by one. So we have learned that whenever the female Anopheles mosquito, they have carried the most infective stage of Plasmodium, that is sporozoids. If that mosquito goes and bites the normal human being or healthy human being, then while sucking the blood, it will release the sporozoids in the body of the human being. Clear? Now that sporozoids, so look over here. So when infected mosquito bites another human, sporozoids are injected with the bite. So the female Anopheles mosquitoes comes and bite the human being in any part of the body, not only in the head, in any part of the body. If the mosquito comes and bite, then the sporozoids will be released in our body. That sporozoids goes and reach the liver, where it will divide by means of asexual division. Clear? There will be asexual division where the Plasmodium will divide. After that, it will go and infect the red blood cells, which is called zygogony. Clear? Now it will go and divide. So the parasite reproduces asexually in the liver cells, bursting the cells and releasing into the blood as cryptomerozoids. So from the liver cells, that means the sporozoids will release the liver cell, it will divide asexually, then liver cell will be burst and it will enter into the red blood cells in the form of cryptomerozoids. Now these cryptomerozoids will reach the red blood cell, again it will divide asexually and forms the merozoids. Clear? So cryptomerozoids will be there, again will enter the red blood cells, it will infect the red blood cells where they will again reproduce asexually, and it will infect more and more red blood cells, and what is called merozoids. Now, red blood cells which are infected by those merozoids will, when they rupture, the rupture of RBC will release a chemical called hemozoin. That hemozoids, once they are released, it will cause or it will help in showing the symptom of a disease. That means an individual will suffer from a shivering fever. Clear? So mainly that chemical hemozoin is released when the RBC will be ruptured. Then after the merozoid is formed, there will be formation of the gametes, female gamete and the male gamete. So till here, the life cycle goes on within the body of human being. Mosquito containing the sporozoid comes and bind the human being. That sporozoid reach the liver cells where it will rapidly multiply. It will, the cells will burst and will infect the blood streams where it will go and keep on dividing and go to cryptomerozoids. That cryptomerozoids goes and infect the red blood cells where it will infect more and more new RBCs. Alright, from merozoids, the RBC will rupture, will release the chemical called hemozoin, and after that the individual will start showing the symptom of the disease malaria. Clear? Then after the formation of merozoids, there will be formation of gamete, where there are three phases, gamogony, there will be formation of female gamete and the male gamete. So till here, there will be asexual phase which is occurring in the body of human being, secondary coat. Now from here, if the mosquito comes and bites the human being, where there is formation of gametes. So while sucking the blood, these two gametes, male and female gamete, will be sucked by the mosquito. Now these two gametes are also there within the body of the mosquito. So in the body of the mosquito, there will be fusion of female gamete and the male gamete. Clear? So this particular phase is now occurring in the body of the mosquito. So there will be fusion of male gamete and the female gamete, which is called fertilization. So after fertilization, in which part of the mosquito fertilization? Mainly the fertilization and development, it occurs in the intestine of the mosquito. And after development, it will help in the formation of sporozoids, which is the most infective stage. Alright. Now those sporozoids from the intestine will migrate into the salivary gland of the mosquito. Clear? Now, if that mosquito that contains the sporozoids in the salivary gland goes and bites the human being, again that sporozoids will enter into the body of normal healthy individuals. That sporozoids goes into liver cells, will divide asexually. It will enter the bloodstream, it will infect the red blood cells, it will again divide by means of secondary reproduction, it will go infect more and more red blood cells. When the RBC ruptures, a chemical called hemogen will be released, and now we will show the symptom of the disease, that it will form the merozoids, right? So within the RBC, they will be in the form of merozoids, they will form the gamete, male gamete and female gamete. Now again, if the mosquito comes and bites that infected individuals, along with the blood, that male and female gamete will go into the body of the mosquito, where there will be fusion of the gametes, which will take place in the intestine. There will be development within the intestine with the mosquito, development of sporozoids, and once the sporozoids, the most infective stage is produced, it will migrate from the intestine into the salivary gland, and now when the mosquito goes and bites over here, more and more malaria will be transmitted from an infected individual to a healthy individual. So over here, remember, all sexual phase will be completed in the body of human being, and the sexual phase will be completed in the body of the primary host or the mosquito. Clear? This is the study of the life cycle of mosquito. Completed in 3 phases: zygogony in human being, or sexual reproduction process, gametogony, where there will be formation of gametes in human being, but the fusion of gametes occurs in the body of mosquito, and sporogony, where there is formation of the we can say sporozoids, where there is formation of sporozoids, the most infective stage that occurs in the mosquito. Clear? Now, what is the incubation period? You know what incubation period is? The time period between the entry of pathogen into our body and the occurrence of the symptom of the disease, that is called incubation period. So the incubation periods of malaria or the pathogens, it occurs from several days after infections. Interval period is called incubation period. Now during this period, parasites multiply several times in liver and produces enough toxin to cause malaria. Okay. Symptoms: headache, nausea, loss of appetite, constipation, apathemia, lack of interest, or how we can say as part of depression. Advanced stage of onset malarial fever, the patient suffers from second chill, headache, muscular pain, joint pain. Okay, if the chill subsides, body temperature rises as high as 106 degrees Fahrenheit. The patient sweats a lot and temperature steadily comes down to normal. Till the next attack takes place after 48 hours. This is called rain. That means the fever will go down and it will rise. Okay, after the recurrence period of 3 days, sometimes 24 hours, or sometimes 48 hours, or 72 hours, depending on the type of malaria. How to control the disease malaria? Destruction of mosquitoes. Simply the breeding site of the mosquito needs to be destroyed. Fill up the ditches, ponds, pools where the mosquito is to breed. Spray the pond with kerosene or some insecticides to kill the larvae in the pupae of the mosquito. If the water of the pond is to be used for drinking or alternative purposes, then any larval fishes that which will mainly feed on the larvae of the mosquito can be added. Ducks and dragonfly larvae can be introduced into this pond, which will feed upon the mosquito larvae. Cover the drains or make underground drains to eliminate the breeding grounds of mosquitoes. Spray insecticides. We need organic spray so that it can kill the other mosquitoes. remove unnecessary vegetation from around the houses, insectivorous plants such as Horticultura, which are the natural enemy of the mosquito larvae, can be introduced, which is bit of a larvae of mosquitoes. These are the control measures of malaria. Now, how to treat the infections? Keep hands and feet covered in evening and night. We can use the mosquito net also. Apply mosquito oil or the insect repellent cream to the body. Use mosquito net while sleeping. Wide closing of doors and windows to prevent entry of mosquito. Treatment can be done by using the drops such as quinine, mepacrine. Then we have got next one, malandrine, chloroquine, and terrapin. These are the name of the few drugs which can be given to those individuals who are suffering from malaria. So, this much for today. In the next class, we will learn about better disease, that is diphtheria and plague. Clear? So, kindly go through the new reduced syllabus of biology. Any doubt, you can ask me. Clear? Until stay safe and keep studying, and kindly go through the revised or the reduced new syllabus of biology. Thank you and see you in next class.